Good morning all. Myself Shabirana. So my topic is chemical thermodynamics. So thermodynamics is one of the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of flow of heat. So the branch of physical chemistry which deals with energy changes accompanying a chemical reaction. So it is comprised of two words. One is system and surrounding. So system and surrounding, whole makes the universe. System is one of the part where we make certain kind of experiments, where we make certain kind of observations, and surrounding is the rest whole part except the system is called as surrounding. Okay, so system and surrounding both are differentiated from one another by using a boundary. So boundary differentiates between heat exchanges from system to surrounding and from surrounding to system. So there are few of basic terms used in chemical thermodynamics: system, surrounding, and there are types of system. So next topic is our types of system. So there are three types of system. One is open system, closed system, and isolated system. Open system is that system in which no heat, in which no lid is covered. So open system is that system in which both the heat and matter can be exchanged from system to surrounding and from surrounding to system. So closed system is that system in which it is covered with a lid. So in which only the heat can be exchanged from one portion to another portion, nor the matter. Isolated, as you can see, one of the example like thermos flask, it is covered with an isolated boundary in which no heat enters the system and no heat leaves the system, and always we can all say all the things related to exchange of matter also. It means no heat nor the matter can be exchanged from both the two parts, from system to surrounding and from surrounding to system. So there are again few terms we have shown here. Open system is that in which both heat and matter can be exchanged from one part to another. Closed, in which only heat exchange can be done nor the matter. Isolated is one in which no heat nor the matter can be exchanged from system to surrounding and from surrounding to system. So there are few physical properties related to the thermodynamics: intensive properties and extensive properties. Intensive properties are those properties in which it is completely dependent upon temperature, pressure, viscosity, surface tension. Few of the properties, refractive index, specific heat, etc. Extensive properties are those in which matter can be considered. For example, mass, volume, energy, heat capacity, entropy, Gibbs free energy, etc. Altogether, there are many of physical thermodynamic properties: isothermal processes, adiabatic processes, isobaric, isoporic, reversible processes, and irreversible processes. And isothermal processes are those in which temperature remains constant. Adiabatic process is that process in which no heat can be exchanged. Isobaric is in which pressure remains constant. Isoporic is in which volume remains constant. Reversible, it means from reactant to product we can convert it easily, and from product to reactant we can make the exchange. Okay, irreversible processes in which no exchange can be done. So there are few of the laws. First is first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics, third law, and zeroth law. As I have explained it in a very well mannered, zeroth law is in which thermal equilibrium is transitive. It means in which equilibrium can be considered easily from reactant to product and from product to reactant and from reactants to product. First law of thermodynamics in which total amount of heat energy remains constant, or we can say that one form can be converted into another and we can make exchange easily, but the total amount of energy remains conserved. Second law of thermodynamics is it completely dependent upon free energy. So energies can flow equilibrated. Okay, it is completely related with free energy, del G. So del G value must be negative for second law to happen. So third law of thermodynamics completely depends upon entropy as well as it depends upon heat capacities. Okay, so before moving on to the next law, we will start with the first law of thermodynamics. According to first law of thermodynamics, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be exchanged from one part to another part, or we can say that the total amount of energy in the universe remains constant. Fine. So del E of universe is equal to del E of system and surrounding. So it is the combination of, it is the sum of system and surrounding energy. So but the total amount of exchange, after exchanging the energy, the total amount of heat energy remains constant. Fine. So it can be also represented in a mathematical form like del E is equal to Q plus W. Del E is the part of energy and Q is the amount of heat energy is going to exchange, and W is what amount of work we are going to perform. Fine. So it is the sum of heat energy and W. Altogether we can say that heat is also the one of form of energy and work done is also one of the form of energy. So by making sum of all these two quantities, we can have the total amount of energy is equal to E. So both the left hand side will equal to the right hand side. Thus the final definition will become the total amount of energy after exchanging. You can say after exchanging from system to surrounding and from surrounding to system, the total amount of energy remains constant. Fine. This is the diagrammatic behavior of exchange of work done and heat energy. Okay, if heat energy can be exchanged in endothermic way and exothermic way, the sign will like plus and minus. Fine. Same on the work. If work is done on the system, then we can make the sign as plus. If work is done by the system, the sign is taken as minus. Fine. Then types of processes, there are two types of processes, spontaneous and non-spontaneous process. Spontaneous is a word from which we can easily understand the processes which can occur easily, okay, which are favorable to occur, okay, which can occur automatically. These are the spontaneous processes. Okay, so many of the reactions in our universe occurs spontaneously. Fine. For example, preparation of food by plants. Okay, exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen from human to plants and from plants to humans. So non-spontaneous processes are those processes in which we have to make certain kind of efforts to make these processes happen. We have to supply lot of energy, we have to make work by use of force. Okay, so these are certain kind of processes which are unfavorable to occur, which are not easily able to occur in the universe. These are called non-spontaneous processes. Fine. This is the expansion of an ideal gas. Means this is the example of spontaneous and non-spontaneous. As you can see, we have two bubbles. In one of the bubble we have filled the molecules of an ideal gas. Another of the bubble is completely vacuum. Now these two bubbles are separated from each other by using the cork. If you open the cork, then the molecules from one bubble can be shifted to another bubble easily. So this is the spontaneous process. This is the spontaneous process. Non-spontaneous processes is the process in which we have to forcibly we have to open the cork and then we have to shuffle the molecules from one part to another part. Okay, spontaneous process, if we don't have the cork separation between the two bubbles, then only the molecules not need to have any of restricted path to move from one part to another part. Okay, so this is one of the best example for spontaneous and non-spontaneous process. Non-spontaneous process, if we have to make, then we have to stop it by a stopper. We have to separate it by a cork. And spontaneous process, if we don't have cork, then the molecules can easily be shifted from one part to another part by its own. Okay, so these are the reactions like these are favorable to occur. These reactions can be easily done. Fine. So again, one of the examples for spontaneous and non-spontaneous, one is evacuated, one is having 1 atmosphere pressure. So if we open the cork, then the molecules will automatically be shifted from one part to another part. Okay, and at the same time you can see there in A bubble the pressure is like 0.5 atmosphere, in a B bubble the pressure is like 0.5 atmosphere. Spontaneous processes, again one of the example is like rusting of iron. Rusting of iron, it takes a long time, it takes also years to occur. So it is a spontaneous process. Okay, no chemical reactions we have to apply. We don't have to react it with any of another thing. Rusting of iron is altogether, we can say it is a spontaneous process. It can easily occur by on its own. Skip all these things. Before understanding the third law of thermodynamics, we must have knowledge about entropy of a system. So entropy can be the measurement of degree of randomness and disorderedness in a system. Okay, the system is highly disordered, then we can say that the system is having high entropy. For any of reaction to occur, the reaction must have, the molecules must have high entropy. So entropy is the degree of disorderedness and randomness. For example, if we are dealing with solid, liquid and gas, the solid molecules, solid atoms are tightly packed together each other. Okay, so there is no force between the molecules available, the molecules are tightly packed. So in case of solid, the entropy is very less. In case of liquid, the molecules are slightly loose. Okay, the forces between the liquid molecules are slightly less. Okay, fine. So the chances of moving the particles from here to there is more. So disorderedness will be greater as is compared with the solid one. So entropy in case of liquid will be greater than that of the solid. In case of gases, you can easily understand the particles are, or the atoms are very far apart from each other. There is no kind of force, there is no kind of bonding between the atoms. So particles can easily move from one part to another part because no kind of force is existing between the gaseous particles, or we can say that very weak force is available between the gas molecules. So the entropy, or we can say that this disorderedness of the molecules is very much high in case of gases as in compared with liquid, as in compared with solid. So we have a mathematical notation of entropy as Q reversible divided by T. It means what amount of heat any of system is to have in order to make certain kind of changes. It completely dependent upon temperature. Okay, is inversely dependent upon temperature. So all of that expression becomes del S is equal to Q reversible upon T. Fine. So the units of entropy is joule per Kelvin as on the basis of this mathematical expression. Next is second law of thermodynamics. As I already said, the second law of thermodynamics is dealing with free energy, del G value. So as del G value, the value is divided into three parts. Del G can be negative, del G means free energy can be negative, free energy can be positive, and free energy may be equal to 0. Okay, so on the basis of these del G values, we can separate the spontaneous process, non-spontaneous processes and equilibrium processes. In any of the reactions, in any of reaction, in order to convert from reactants to product, we have to cross the energy barrier. We have to make certain changes in energy. In order to make energies from reactant to products, we have to reach a state like equilibrium state. So del G is equal to 0 means that is the time, that is the state where we have to, where we reach del G value, free energy value as 0. So if the del G value is negative, it means the processes are spontaneous to occur. The processes can be easily done. They have enough amount of energies, they have enough amount of entropy, disorderedness to make any of reaction happen. So del G value always, for a system to occur, for a reaction to occur, del G value must have the value as negative. If the del G value is positive, then the reactions are non-spontaneous, reactions are not favorable to occur. We cannot achieve the products from reactants easily. Fine. So second law of thermodynamics is the entropy of the universe increases for a spontaneous process. So mathematically we can express it like del S is one of the notation for entropy. Del S value must be greater than 0. As I've already said, entropy value must be greater. Okay, for a reaction to occur, as maximum disorderedness in a reaction is present, then you can have the reaction with high spontaneity. Okay, the chances of occurring a reaction is more. Fine. So it is a second law of thermodynamics. Del S should be greater than 0. Fine. Del S of universe is del S of system plus del S of surrounding greater than 0. So del S total is greater than 0, then reaction is irreversible, or we can say that is a spontaneous one. Del S is equal to 0. It is equilibrium, or we can say that ideal. Del S is less than 0. It means it is a non-spontaneous one. Fine. Next is third law of thermodynamics. Third law of thermodynamics is it is completely dependent upon entropy. So if entropy of a pure crystalline substance is zero, then we can say that it is a third law of thermodynamics. Fine. It also deals with heat capacities of system. If heat capacity of system becomes zero at absolute zero scale temperature, it is a third law of thermodynamics. Fine. This is a third law of thermodynamics again. So expression, mathematical expression I am going to skip. The entropy of a pure crystalline substance at absolute zero becomes zero. This is the third law of thermodynamics. As I have already explained, entropy in case of gases is greater than that of entropy in case of liquids than that of solids. Fine. So the graph is increasing from solid, liquid to gases. Okay, as the entropy is going to increase from solids to liquids to gases. So according to third law of thermodynamics, entropy becomes zero at absolute zero scale temperature. This is third law of thermodynamics, and it was given by Nernst, which is completely dependent upon Nernst heat theorem. Fine. And thank you so much. Next we'll cover in next half of our lectures. Thank you. Thanks.